Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
If you signed in with a link from one of your friends that's being honored today, and it looks like you're showing up as them, please feel free to share, to change and rename yourself so we know who you are. And to rename yourself, you can go up into the upper right corner, and there's three dots. And if you click on that, it'll allow you to put in the name. If you have any questions, try to chat, put something in the chat. Well, it's my honor today to first introduce Freshwater Future's Executive Director, Jill Ryan. And I'm going to let Jill have an official welcome for us today.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, everybody, for being here, both our honorees and those celebrating them. This is my favorite day of the year because it's a chance to reconnect with old friends. It's a chance to be inspired by all the amazing work that our honorees have accomplished. And it's just a great time to remember that even though the work we do is often hard, the results are so important and fantastic. And so we want to remember that on a day like this, that this is such a great opportunity to celebrate the work of grassroots and all that we can accomplish together. So thank you all for being here. Um, I don't, I want to just say a couple of words about Freshwater Future. We work with about 2,000 groups across the 8 Great Lakes states and Ontario. And we have a US 501c3 and a Canadian charity. And so to be in this group of heroes means a lot because there are 2,000 groups plus many, many more individuals doing this great work that we're working with. And we are so pleased that your work stood out this year, and we really wanted to thank you for all of that. So I'm, without further ado, I just want to say how much you are appreciated and that the next hour will be an inspiration for me, I know, to keep me going in the next year. So I thank you all for your work and thank you all for taking the time to be here and celebrate with us today. Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. That was fantastic. It is very impressive. Appreciate everybody taking the time today to be a part of this. And we're just going to jump right in to start celebrating some of these freshwater futures, freshwater heroes that we have. And the first freshwater hero that we'd like to honor today is Peggy Berry. Peggy Berry, as a nurse, she witnessed how water and air pollution was really impacting her patients. She founded a nonprofit called Between the Waters to illuminate and educate on water issues and pollution, as well as lift up grassroots activists and organizations working on water issues. Peggy frequently shares that water is life, and without potable water, you do not have much life. Thank you, Peggy, for your focus on public health and safe drinking water, and for really making a difference. So I'd like to pass it over to Peggy to say a few words, please.
I'm going to hold it up. Can you see it? Isn't it beautiful? It's a canoe and it looks great. And I want to thank you for making me a freshwater hero. All of us today are water advocates, which means we are concerned about the health of this nation and the health of this world. We need drinking water. Without that, we don't have life. And of course, I'm always going to say that again. Water is life. Make it an important priority. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of the award ceremony.
Thanks, Peggy. Very nice. The second award goes to Superior Rivers Watershed Association in Ashland, Wisconsin. Since 2002, Superior Rivers Watershed Association has established a baseline of water quality data in northwestern Wisconsin using volunteers. And most impactful is how they use that data to influence decision makers to address threats to the Bad River and other waters. For example, Superior Rivers Water Association utilized the water quality data that they've been collecting to protect some of the waters along the rerouting of the 70-plus-year-old Line 5 pipeline that I'm sure many of you know about by urging decision makers, including the Army Corps of Engineers, to deny permits for the pipeline relocation. And they're currently expanding their monitoring around the proposed pipeline reroute so they can establish that baseline information so that they can document if any future pollution may happen because that rerouting crosses 186 waterways that all empty into the Bad River and Lake Superior. And the Bad River in the Anishinaabe is Mashkizibi. I just like to see if I could throw that out there and hopefully did it correctly. So I'd like to pass it over to Alex Faber from the Superior Rivers Water Association to say a few words.
Hi, thank you guys. I'll hold up this as well. Thank you for recognizing our work and the work of our dozens of volunteers for a hero award. I think that our volunteers are heroes with the work that they're doing. We've been doing water quality monitoring, citizen science with our volunteers since 2002. First is the Bad River Watershed Association, and it's been a really important way of engaging our community in watershed stewardship and understanding the quality of the water that's out there. We have exceptional water quality in this region, and we really like to keep it that way. So for this award, I really want to recognize, the dozens of people that are out there collecting water quality. Right now, we have 22 monthly volunteers that go out and collect water quality samples, and we'll be adding to that, as well as some of those folks will be picking up more sites to monitor along the reroute. We also have more than 35 volunteers that go out for hours every spring and fall to collect bugs from the water and collect those water quality samples. I also want to recognize our very small part-time staff, Emma Holton and Kevin Brewster, because they put in a lot of work, a lot more than we can compensate them for. And I would really appreciate everything that they do, as well as their friends and family, for supporting them through all the work. Also, our 230 plus members and donors, our founding board members, both the ones that have passed on and those who are still very active and dedicated volunteers. And also just the collaborative environment we have in this region. We're a small grassroots group with a lot of dedicated volunteers, but we work in a really broader context with a really collaborative environment with the Mushkegee tribe, but then also Northland College and the agencies in the region. And we really appreciate the community that's working together to protect the water quality here and make a resilient Lake Superior. Thank you all.
Thank you, Alex. Wonderful words, and appreciate you uplifting others. It really is all of this work is group work. I'd like to introduce our next hero, who is Gwen Winston. And I'm honored to introduce Gwen. She's been an integral part of community organizing in Southeast Michigan for decades. Founder of the Wisdom Institute, a grassroots organization dedicated to empowering African American women and girls through advocacy, education, and spirit-centered healing. Wisdom Institute provides space devoted to healing and mentorship because, in her words, justice will never happen in this land until African American women are healed. Gwen's contributions to ensuring access to safe and affordable drinking water for maternal health have been impactful in combating one of the many causes of chronic disparities in African American maternal health and their outcomes. It is with great honor that I introduce Gwen Winston. And I believe she's on, so, oh, there she is.
Thank you so much. I love my award. Thank you. And I'm honored to accept my Shield Award. I want to thank my sisters and brothers of the Wisdom Institute for the beautiful lessons learned over the last 25 years. I want to thank Cicely and Latanya for your commitment as Wisdom's new co-director. And you pledge to continue to advocate for the lives and livelihood of African American women. Thank you so much, Jill and the staff of Freshwater Future. You have been a blessing not only to me and to Wisdom staff. Our partnership with you and your consulting over the years has elevated Wisdom's visibility, our effect in water work, and our love. You helped us in so many ways. You helped us to write our case statement, build our website, and our organization's capacity to do the work. You've helped us lift our messages and actions for safe, clean, affordable water across the state. And it forwarded our intersection of healing and justice. Thank you so much. And a special thank you to we the people of Detroit and Water Peace for ushering Wisdom Institute into water warrior status since 2018. Blessings to all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. You're going to start to make me cry. It's a little early in the start of this, but we'll see. Hopefully I can keep it going here. So our next award goes to another amazing woman, Paula Maccabee. Paula has served as advocacy director and counsel for Water Legacy, an organization dedicated to protecting Lake Superior and the boundary waters from sulfide mining and other industrial actions since 2009. One of her greatest achievements happened last year when Paula exposed the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency's improper efforts to hide the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's warning that the permit would violate the Clean Water Act, the permit being for the mining company. This resulted in the Minnesota Supreme Court reversing the mining company's water pollution permit, deemed arbitrary and capricious due to those improper procedures that Water Legacy and Paula exposed. Another strength of Paula's is really working in collaboration with other organizations, including the Fond du Lac and Grand Portage bands of Lake Superior, Chippewa. We're grateful to Paula for her leadership in working to prevent pollution and destruction of Minnesota waters from mining projects, and it actually has an impact on other states as well. So thank you, Paula. And I'll let Paula say a few words.
Hey, here's me. Thank you so much to Freshwater Future. And I want to say not just thank you for the award, but for the years of dedicated support in helping smaller organizations make a difference. And we've had Water Legacy has been doing this work now for 15 years. And I want to thank all of our dedicated volunteers, including our incredible board and our staff that are actually working again as for much less money than they're really worth. And for all the volunteers who help us with tabling and communications and with working in affiliation in so many ways. And I think that part of our story is when we started this work in 2009, we went into office and they said, the Polymet mine, which is actually owned by Glencore, one of the most notorious multinational corporations there is, the Polymet mine was inevitable. And we're here now in 2024, and the Polymet mine has not dug a hole. They haven't spilled any pollution. They haven't ruined any wetlands. And that's not because they decided they didn't want to do it or because the state was on the side of the environment. It's because Water Legacy, other organizations like us, huge numbers, tens of thousands of citizens joined us, and the leadership and stewardship of tribal sovereign nations who stood up for their water and their community to benefit the entire community. So I want to say that a few years ago, maybe it would have seemed impossible to protect Lake Superior and to protect the Great Lakes. And Freshwater Future has been with us the whole time and has taken risks on small organizations fighting big bad guys that they might not always vanquish, and has made a huge difference in both the financial support and the moral support for our little organization, Water Legacy. So thank you so much, and thank you for sharing today all the wonderful collaborative work across the region. It is very inspiring. It is wonderful to hear everybody's stories. So thank you again.
Thanks, Paula. We appreciate your kind words, and none of the work could be done without all of you, though. So we're happy to be that support behind you, but you are doing that work. So our next award is going to Keep Water Affordable. This Keep Water Affordable was formed after the water system in their community, New Garden Township in Pennsylvania, was bought by a private company, Aqua Pennsylvania. And it's a private for-profit company. And after they purchased it, the sewer rates doubled. Even though they weren't able to win the battle to keep their water system public, they went on to they wanted to be a beacon of hope for other communities. So they created a website that has extensive materials and information about how these private companies are moving in and how they are taking advantage of programs to purchase out water systems that is really leading to unaffordable water, both drinking water and sewer. And we are just so grateful for their work that they've done to expose this problem, but then also their commitment to sharing that knowledge with other communities so that they can protect the rights of residents against privatization and exploitation. So we have a few people on today. We have Bill Ferguson and Margot Woodacre and Peter Rose, I'm not going to pronounce his name right. So Peter, and Peter's going to say a few words. So I'll let him say his last name correctly.
It's Mrozinski. Just say everything. But yeah, I've been chosen as the spokesperson, and but Margot, Bill, and I do sincerely thank Freshwater Future for this recognition. And listening to the previous award recipients, we're very honored to be included in this group. We truly are. And although Bill and I grew up near Great Lake cities, he near Lake Erie, me near Lake Michigan, and Pennsylvania does dip a toe into Lake Erie. Landenberg, Pennsylvania is as far away from the Great Lakes as you can get and still be in Pennsylvania. But what we learned, even though our work started on our local issues, it was the sale of our sewer system to a for-profit utility and the doubling of our rates, got us all involved in this. What we learned is that it was happening throughout the state of Pennsylvania. And in fact, Pennsylvania has become a hotbed of runaway privatization of water and wastewater systems. We recognize that what we learned while addressing a local issue could be helpful to others. We've learned that working on a local issue can have a much broader impact than we realized. And our work now is focused on issues across both our county and across the state. But as many of you know from your work, trying to educate the public on these issues, trying to influence legislators, trying to influence regulators is too often a thankless and frustrating task. So that's really a big part of what makes this such an honor for us, is the recognition that you've given us for the work that we intend to continue doing. So for all of us, I want to thank you again, and I want to emphasize we're very honored to be included in this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, so much. I appreciate your kind words as well. So we're going to stick in the state of Pennsylvania, and our next honoree is Pat Lupo from Erie, Pennsylvania. Pat Lupo has committed decades to fostering environmental awareness and advocacy among youth, as well as fighting for water quality in Erie, Pennsylvania. Pat is a respected leader. She courageously speaks up to protect the environment, Lake Erie, and public health. An example of her impactful work and leadership is she helped to form an organization called Hold Erie Coke Accountable, and they fought for stricter regulations on the Erie Coke plant. The plant had had a history of pollution and environmental violations, and because of their involvement and engagement and trying to get the state agency to hold the company accountable, the company decided it was not interested in meeting those permit requirements. And so it closed, which put another problem and pressure on the community as well, because of the need for good employment and also the need for cleanup at the site. So Pat has been continually working to make sure that the monitoring on the cleanup of the site continues and there's progress happening, that they're continuing to pressure for a community working group to make sure that they have increased transparency and public engagement and sound decision making around this former industrial property. Pat also is really dedicated to the youth as well. And so she nurtures the next generation of environmental stewards through her work at the Inner City Neighborhood Art House and the Johnny Harand Garden Apartments. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Pat Lupo.
Good afternoon, and I want to thank you for this honor and also for all the work that Freshwater Future does. As we all know, we will never be able to care for the freshwaters of our Great Lakes individually. It takes all of us working together. So on that note, I would like to thank all of the partners that I work with daily to protect and preserve not just the waters of the Pennsylvania Lake Erie watershed, but of the entire Great Lakes Basin. So thank you to HECA, Hold Erie Coke Accountable, PLUA, the Pennsylvania Lake Erie Watershed Association, Penn Future, Pennsylvania Sea Grant, Our Water, Our Air, Our Rights, Lake Erie Sierra Club, Presque Isle Audubon Society, the Benedictine Sisters of Erie. All of these organizations are daily working on so many different issues, all of them related to our waters. I also would like to thank my amazing colleagues at the Neighborhood Art House and the kids that I enjoy teaching each day. I would like to recognize two new and old colleagues at Glen, the Great Lakes Ecoregion Network, a group coming into its own, and I encourage all of you to investigate a little more fully. And of course, thanks to my family and friends, especially Cecilia and Gino. You need to lead the way for the next generation. So once again, thank you for this wonderful award.
Thank you, Pat. Wonderful words. And I'm reminded by all of you how humble you all are because of all the other people that you include in your thanks. And it's hard sometimes to be singled out for that recognition. So you all deserve it though, and as well as all of your partners as well. So I'm pleased to introduce our next freshwater hero, who is Donna McDuffie. Donna McDuffie has volunteered, organized, and led community efforts to make her neighborhood, Chandler Park, a better place to live. Over the years, she has helped to construct and distribute rain barrels and install rain gardens. She, after the extreme flooding that happened in Detroit in 2021 that impacted her neighborhood, she started working to do more to help the residents there. And she started to work with Freshwater Future to use the Flood Focus app to collect data to document the frequency and the extent of flooding that was occurring. As a result, they have collected over 70 data points, and they have a map that shows where the most frequent locations are. And they've created a report that they have sent to decision makers asking for changes and things that need to happen. But Donna doesn't just get involved in stormwater. When other issues pop up, Donna is one of the first ones to always get involved. When there's the new plant being reopened again and there's an air quality permit, Donna's the one to make sure that somebody's taking care of that and looking into that and the residents are safe. So she gets involved in anything that has to protect her community and her neighborhood. And in her own words, she says it takes perseverance, tenacity, and the willingness to work on implementing small but impactful projects. And she's very good at that. So I'm pleased to introduce my friend Donna.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you. Well, this presentation is really about addressing climate change in urban setting as grassroots residents and homeowners and such. So we get a lot of input, luckily, from our community and on ways that we can discuss that. So it was presented to me today from one of our very dedicated community members that I should present this based on a very well-known and their favorite movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and such. So in our search for collecting the data, and just our experience with multiple incidents of flooding in our area or whatever, the good is that a lot of good verbiage and a lot of feel good words gain popularity. Like we had a lot of discussions about around resiliency, sustainability, environmental stewardship, green improvements, and transparency as such. We also witnessed a lot of existing coalitions and those that were newly formed come together, collaborate to ponder solutions to the relentless onset of these environmental injustices in our urban neighborhood. And residents had questions. They wanted to know how to improve their environment. So they began to attend workshops and participate in various discussion sessions. And it felt as if this were something that everyone could be a part of and such. So moving on, the bad kind of is just a process thing, timelessness and selection. In the early process, a lot of the residents and community groups had difficulties in getting information as opposed to what they should do and how they should kind of move forward on claims and things like that. And a lot of our residents reported that the authorities acted somewhat blameless and clueless and such, because the questions were like, well, what happened and why and what we can do to prevent this. So residents through that, they endured long waiting periods to get their assistance, to get their resources, and to just have like basic cleanup. Restoration and replacement of the water lead lines is a good addition, but it's quite expensive. So at this time, the process is somewhat spotty and not citywide and such. So we're waiting to hear more about that. And another event that our residents began to notice was flooding was occurring during normal rain events and such. There were just always tattletale signs that it had rained. The ugly of our story is evidence. It shows itself in the basement and the street flooding, the soil erosion, the driveway and apron damage. And all of this was captured with photos and submitted using the Flood Focus app. So we collected the data to document the reoccurrence of flooding in our area, and we will present this data to our elected and appointed officials. We ask that resources be allocated to implement and improve GSI pilots and water management projects such as French drains, retention walls, paver, restorative landscape, and curb cuts. I'm really excited about sharing this report and such, and for the unwavering support and from Freshwater Future that made this all possible. And I would like to thank the Freshwater Future team, and thank you for the award and the recognition of the Heroes Award. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna. Although out of that good, bad, and ugly, the good is of course all of you, and of course you and your residents who are really making a difference. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So our next Freshwater Hero Award goes to it's an organization. This is Seneca Lake Guardian in New York. When a gas storage and transport hub was proposed on the shores of Seneca Lake in 2011, Yvonne Taylor and Joseph Campbell knew that they needed to take action, and they acted quickly to form a group, Gas Free Seneca, to fight back to protect the lake, which is a drinking water source for over 100,000 people. Fortunately, they were able to win this battle. You know, we don't always win our battles in environmental work. So they were able to win this one. But after that, Yvonne and Joseph launched Seneca Lake Guardian so that this organization could preserve and protect the health of the Finger Lakes. They had learned so much in their work, they wanted to make sure they could continue applying it. Since then, they've had additional victories, helping to shut down an incinerator that would have contributed to water and air pollution. And they got a moratorium on Bitcoin operations that use water for cooling after one of the industry, Bitcoin, was causing harmful algal blooms. And since then, they are working on trying to protect drinking water from the New York's largest landfill that produces 200,000 gallons of PFAS-tainted leachate daily. They've been helping residents test their water near the landfill to make sure that their wells aren't contaminated, and they're working to make sure that that landfill will not get a permit to continue operations. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Yvonne Taylor to say a few words about Seneca Lake Guardian.
Hello, everyone, and thank you to Freshwater Future for this award. We are both honored and humbled to be recognized among so many other incredible activists as a freshwater hero for our work protecting the health of the Finger Lakes, its residents and visitors, and our community's character. My partner, Joseph Campbell, who's here with us today as well, and I have been, as Anne mentioned, working to protect our clean air and water since 2011. And we really have had some true David versus Goliath victories against some major polluting corporations along the way. And today, as Anne said, we are proud to be leading the statewide fight against New York's largest landfill. It stands 30 feet tall. It was slated to close in 2025. But instead, its Texas-based for-profit operator has applied for a new permit to extend its operations for another 15 years. We've already seen the devastating impact of the dump on our community up close. It degrades our beautiful natural environment, attacks our climate, and poses very real health risks that threaten our residents every single day. But not only that, it produces 70 million gallons of PFAS-laden leachate every year, a forever chemical linked to many health impacts, including cancer. And this leachate doesn't just impact the local waterways. It's hauled across New York State to localities that don't have the mechanism for removing these toxic chemicals before it gets discharged into our waterways and our drinking water sources, several which all ultimately flow into Lake Ontario. Thanks to the support from Freshwater Future, we were able to provide PFAS test kits to residents with wells near the landfill to obtain baseline information about their water quality. Soon, we will all have an opportunity to comment on the draft environmental impact statement for this proposed expansion, and we hope some of you will join us in that effort. In the meantime, we have made some headway, including obtaining a letter from the Haudenosaunee Environmental Task Force and both chairs of the New York State Legislators' Environmental Conservation Committee, calling on New York's Governor Hochul to permanently close this landfill. And we joined others in a recent filing of a lawsuit against the DEC and the landfill's operation for violating our constitutional right to clean air, water, and a healthy environment. We're so grateful to Freshwater Future for their support of our work and hope to partner with any of you honorees and attendees that wish to join us in our fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yvonne. I think you made a lot of friends on this group, so based on the chat. So I think everyone will be reaching out. The next Freshwater Hero Award goes to Rachel Haverlock from Chicago, Illinois. While many environmentalists have a hard science background, Dr. Rachel Haverlock stands out by bringing a unique humanities perspective to the field. Rachel founded the Freshwater Lab at the University of Illinois in Chicago in 2016. Putting her experience with diplomacy and policy to use, she created this innovative program that raises awareness about water issues in the Great Lakes and empowers people to claim and protect this most vital public asset. Over the last 8 years, the Freshwater Lab has had a profound impact on water issue literacy in the Great Lakes region. Through Rachel's leadership, she's shifted how we talk about water, helping to elevate it as a priority for all. One of the lab's key achievements is inspiring young water leaders and researchers. Through Rachel's mentorship, over 400 alumni have gone through the program to date, and we've been fortunate at Freshwater Future and honored to host some of these talented and enthusiastic interns. Rachel's inspiring a new generation of interdisciplinary researchers to tackle critical water issues. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much to Freshwater Future and to all of the heroes here in this bunch. It's just incredible to hear what you all are doing. And it's one of these moments where I am convinced that we can do it and keep our water here in the watershed, keep it public, and keep it affordable. So thank you so much. And I do live in Chicago now. I am from Michigan, and I have to say, among my thanks to Freshwater Future, giving someone from Michigan an award in the shape of a canoe is like the greatest thing I've ever received. Thank you so much for that and for your ongoing support and really your embrace of the Freshwater Lab at the University of Illinois at Chicago. So I'll keep my comments brief. Just want to touch on 3 points. And the first one is I do have about 100 students every year from different personal and academic backgrounds. I do try to place as many of them as I can directly in internships and to get them payment for that and into jobs. So for all these great groups here, if you are looking for young people, either from your own community to connect with the Chicagoans or people to advance the causes, I just think we can't invest enough in our next generation and elevating them and laying this path forward so that they can speak for the waters and for their communities and for also the non-human species. So here's to the next generation, and let's be sure to always protect them, elevate them, and connect them. The second thing I wanted to say is to invite you all to Chicago for a free and open festival along the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal, which I will now address. That is the largest diversion of Great Lakes water. The Freshwater Lab has been very active since 2020 around our Backward River project, really rethinking this diversion of water and also rethinking the great disparity between our wealthier, whiter communities that are enjoying river walks and river parks and landscaping and paddling opportunities, and our environmental justice communities that are seeing an even higher concentration of industries on the shores of the river when that flows through what are known as industrial corridors. And these industrial corridors that are zoned for lower air and water quality standards almost always coincide with the EJ communities. And this is something that even when those freshwater heroes, my friends and partners, do things like shut down coal power plants, they're seeing in the footprint of those shutter coal power plants massive warehouses where labor is exploited and where diesel pollution is introduced into the neighborhoods. So again, even though that I'm telling you what's going on in the industrial corridors, I still invite you to join us at a river park on the Sanitary and Ship Canal known as the Canal Port River Walk on June 8th, 2 to 6 p.m. We are going to have a big festival of arts and activism and environmental justice leaders right in the shadow of the massive Damon grain silos. I'm sure many of these are in your cities as well. This was used in the 19th century to store grain in these huge concrete towers. They have been purchased by, I think the most succinct way to say it is a nepotistic asphalt king who has opened an asphalt plant near a beautiful Chicago park in a neighborhood with some of the highest numbers of children and young people. He has purchased the silos, will not tell us what he is doing with them, but says that he plans to demolish them. So we don't know. The Freshwater Lab with our partners across the city and the west side of Chicago are trying to intervene and see what we can do. I'm learning from many of you on this call, seeing what we can do with the arts, with the humanities, with community activism and solidarity to intervene in these plans. So I think my 2 minutes, I'm a professor, so speaking for a short time is not natural to me. But again, I want to invite all of you to Damon Silo City, the Backward River Festival in Chicago, June 8th. Join us, bring your experiences, bring your campaigns. If anyone wants to share your victories with us from the stage, please consider this your formal invitation. And Freshwater Future, thank you so much for the support and the creative approach that you bring to all that you do, and also to bringing us all here together today.
Thanks, Rachel. Exciting to hear about those projects that you're working at and how important they are too. So who knows, you might have many people join you on June 8th. Our final award today goes to Lindsay Telfer. The Thames River, weaving its way through the southwestern Ontario, contributed to Lindsay Telfer's love of water. She was able to explore the river with her friends and search for crayfish and other critters, and she then focused her career on the environment. Lindsay co-founded and was the national project director for the Canadian Freshwater Alliance, which advanced federal policy goals around Navigable Waters Act, the Canada Water Act, and natural infrastructure. Their Lake Erie campaign saw hundreds of kilometers swum and paddled in support of the lake. They reintroduced hundreds of native plants to the landscape and delivered capacity building trainings throughout the region and across Canada. Now, Lindsay is bringing her current passion to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, advancing net zero acceleration across local communities. Lindsay served as a board member of Freshwater Future Canada for over 10 years. We are incredibly grateful to Lindsay for her service and for sharing her expertise on organizational management and her just willingness to share her knowledge and always be there to assist and be a great partner. Thank you for all you've done to protect the freshwater in Canada and the Great Lakes region. I'll pass it over to Lindsay.
Thanks, Anne. I mean, I think the benefit of going last is just sharing the inspiration that all of you have shared today. And I think that it solidified why I was a board member for 10 years. With Freshwater Future Canada. I think the commitment and honoring and supporting and amplifying the voices of our grassroots communities really is such a critical role, and Freshwater Future's commitment to that, and I would say unwavering commitment to that, just speaks volumes. And I think all of you are such a testament to that. And I'm honored to be honored alongside all of you. So thank you to all of you, and to Freshwater Future for what you do. I think it is such important work. And I think sometimes undervalued work. And I think what you do fills such an important need in our space and in our communities. So I'm joining you all today from the beautiful shores of Lake Simcoe and Lake Couchiching in sort of central Ontario. I've always, as I think so much of our communities are connected to and alongside waterways, I think that they hold so much power, and not just not just power. And I think what a few of us have shared, it gives, water really is life. So there's no more power than that. But it's spiritual power, it's community connection, it's at the foundation of so much of what brings us together as people and as species. And I will always love that connection. It'll always be in me, whether I'm getting paid to work in the community or whether I'm a grassroots activist, which is what I do now. Really working to protect the integrity of the waterways in my hometown and where I live, and look forward to continuing alignment with Freshwater Future and other organizations in that pursuit. So congratulations to you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. That was great. Well, to close us out today, I would like to introduce you to Freshwater Future's board president, Stephanie Smith.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? It is such a joy and pleasure to be here today with you all and to serve as Freshwater Future's board chair, working with this remarkable organization. And I really appreciate being among you all, inspiring colleagues and friends. Just want to harken back to 2 days ago when we had an eclipse in which we experienced some dim skies and darkness for those who were in the path of totality, followed by the return of light. And I was thinking about that as I was thinking also about this event, and being reminded of both the fragility of our world, the delicate balance that really sustains life for us all, and thinking about how as quickly as we had that darkness come over us while we were observing the eclipse, for those of us who were able to, how just as quickly it can be dispelled by the light of the sun shining through, and how in some ways this mirrors our work, thinking about our resources, our beautiful fresh water that shines so brightly in our communities and is so essential for us, providing life and sustenance to millions of people. But how also, and you're all very aware of this, that light is dimmed by challenges related to environmental injustice, to pollution, climate change, all the things that you've mentioned today that cast shadows for our communities, for the people around us, for ourselves. But in the face of those challenges, and in the face of that dim light or that darkness, there are these heroes among us. And being here today is such an incredible reminder of people who really refuse on so many levels to let the darkness creep in, to let the darkness prevail. As guardians and stewards of our lakes, I'm reminded here about how you all uplift each other. Everyone here thanked other people in addition to being grateful, but your tireless work in helping to bring future generations into this work as well. These stories were highlighted in multiple ways. how you engage others, even today during this ceremony, looking for ways to collaborate right here in this moment and thinking about ways that we can achieve a greater impact together. Just remarkably inspiring. And want to just, on behalf of Freshwater Future, just think about how fortunate we are to have you all here as our inspiring and committed heroes, advocating for clean water policies and spearheading community monitoring, cleaning things up, inspiring others, getting people engaged, healing and strengthening community members around you. You are the driving force behind positive change in our region for clean, safe, affordable drinking water. And that is an incredible gift to the region. I do work both here locally and then globally. And I just want to take a moment to remind us also that the work of heroes like you extends beyond the shores of the Great Lakes, and knowing that we are all connected by water globally. A lot of my work takes place in the tropical lakes of East Africa these days. And there are stories of heroes around the world that show that we are not alone, that we are all connected in our quest for healthier and more sustainable world and vibrant fresh water. So as we come together in this circle, feeling the community and the support and the inspiration, just really grateful to be here and to be able to witness the work that you're doing and help it inspire us as we move forward, being reminded of the power of light to dispel darkness, the power of hope to overcome despair, and being here today helping to recommit ourselves to our cause around fresh water, knowing that together, this is the way that we can work best to ensure a brighter future for our lakes, our communities, our planet. So thank you. Together, we're writing this new chapter in the story of fresh water. And today, I'm just so reminded of the courage and the compassion and the collective action that it takes to do this. And you, as the heroes in this story, are a light that's guiding us through this darkness and serving as a beacon of hope. So thank you all very much for sharing your stories, and so importantly, for taking action every day in the ways that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Wonderful. Well, I know I will be inspired today to be a better person and to act and make decisions that are based on all of you. So thank you for inspiring me. And we do have just a few minutes. We don't really have time for kind of questions and answers, but we're happy to open it up to everybody. If anyone has any burning questions they want to ask or a couple of shout outs, we'll try to make all of the attendees panelists as well, so you can speak for a couple of minutes, or not, just real briefly, because we'll close at 1 for sure. We've had so many great comments in the chat. It's been exciting to see those scrolling by as I've listened to everybody. Feel free to unmute yourself.
For me, Dan.
Yeah, go ahead, Paula. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think the work that's being done throughout the Great Lakes region is somewhat a beacon of light for other countries as well. One of our board members, an Anishinaabe leader, Ricky Defoe, was just in Serbia and was explaining how our work, Water Legacies, and other people throughout this whole region in opposing the pollution and destruction from copper, nickel, sulfide ore mining has been a source of strength and information and validation for Indigenous and non-Native communities that are trying also to do this protective work. And so I think that everything that you are doing, and I'm looking at all these wonderful faces, also has a chance to have further repercussions. And I'm just so delighted that we're all talking together, and that we can all participate together in something that makes such an important difference for this community and for this larger world as well.
Well said. Well said. Anyone else? Well, if that's the case, I will give you a few minutes back to your day. You can grab a bite if you didn't get to get your lunch in yet. And thank you all so much for joining us for this incredible celebration of Freshwater Heroes.
Thank you
you
for
so
all your
much.
inspiration and your work.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone. Bye.